Hello, this is The House That Happens, recorded live at Chewy's Bar and Grill every Saturday or Sunday, morning, afternoon, whatever it may be. Voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA, though it's number 1 in all the universe in our hearts. I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz.
Cruz, how you doing?
I'm here to bring you the ridiculous, the raw, and the entertaining facts concerning sports this week. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad. It's been a couple weeks since we've been in. We got a pre-recorded show last weekend, but now back to our regular scheduled programming.
I hope that everybody gets to hear the pre-program shows because they're very, very good. We're not going to spoil it, but you will. We will advertise it. We will give you some what would you call it, promo, to give us an idea what these shows are about. I want to shout out to all the people, Troy, Andrew, that's you, BOH, John. All been watching the show. They all, Andrew, I want to let you know they all really enjoyed the show about the 3 guys that are screwing up their sports.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Got good feedback on it. Usually when we start the show, we want to take a look at a few things that go on that kind of went, that was peculiar, or this, that, and the other thing. But before I do that, I just want to say that, you know what, nobody lives forever, but it's really sad when people go before their time. So I just want to let everyone know I was fortunate enough to see Sinead O'Connor when she was 20 years old. I know she's had some problems in her life, but she was absolutely amazing live. She's actually put out some very good records, and it would be, remiss of me, and my wife said, you better shout out to Sinead O'Connor. So to her and her family, huge condolences to extremely talented women, and I wish everybody goes back and revisits her catalog because she did some good things.
There we go. And I can remind you, you don't have to speak right into the mic.
As usual, people, I'm screwing up the mic control with a bad voice. I was out late watching rock and roll, having a good time. Huge shout out to the boys in Zeptology who killed it again. I'm not going to tell you the venue I was at because I do not like to promote it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
All right.
I want to shout out, I had a wonderful softball game last Saturday with a bunch of the boys. It was a good turnout. There was about 15 of us.
Really? Did you get any hits?
I got on base once. It was more due to an error, but I had made the only double play of the game.
Oh, okay. So you contributed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the main thing.
Base running and fielding, that's my forte. But shout out Marco, other Marco.
A lot of Marcos.
You could tell I'm Italian. Yeah. Rob, Roberto, Steven, of course, my brother, all of his buddies showing up. I know I'm missing a number of different people, but thank you, everyone. That was an amazing time. We're going to do it one more time before the end of summer at Binder Twine Park in Kleinberg.
Cool.
Then we'll do a little bit of housekeeping since we missed a few of the things from last week.
Of course, we're going to get it. I just want to bring up something that was very interesting. I don't know if this is going to affect sports in a different way, but we understand that gambling's taking over everything.
Yeah.
You do understand that, excuse me, Steph Curry just won the annual Pro-Am, all the celebrities and everyone get together and have a big tournament.
Right.
And Steph Curry won the tournament. However, there was a football player, I forget his name, I'm sorry, Tristan something. He was winning the tournament. And just when he went to go to swing, some guy went, "Whoa!" And he muffed his swing, he bogeyed the hole. Steph Curry eagled the hole and stole the tournament. Here's the problem with that. They found out that the guy bet on Steph Curry.
Oh, no.
I couldn't. Yes, the guy had. I didn't even know you could bet on this stuff. But
you can bet on it. You can bet on the weather, Cruz.
Okay, I agree. This is my point. What I thought was an interesting point is my favorite sports talking head, Tony Kornheiser, said, this is definitely going to be a problem in the future. Like, it can't affect basketball or hockey or any of those sports because everyone yelling. No?
Well, we've seen DeRozan's daughter,
at the
free throw line.
But, I mean, that's part of the game. I understand it. But when they're talking about two sports that could be affected by this.
Tennis and golf,
especially if there's money on the line. First of all, that never entered my mind. I would not think, because as a guy that loves golf, loves the game, loves tennis, which we're going to get to in a second, I think that it's ridiculous now that gambling is going to affect a sport in that way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we kind of predicted that it was getting that way. We talked about the power of gambling and where things are going with, just the power of it all, right?
I just hope that people have more class, more couth, more understanding to respect the competition.
Yeah.
By not altering it by you being an idiot. You know what I'm saying?
There's always that one bad apple that spoils the bunch, right?
Every time. You know that?
Yep. I want to get to the Wimbledon final, talk about that a little bit. Amazing thrilling 5-set championship match between Djokovic and Alcaraz. I hope you watch that.
I watched every stroke of it. As a matter of fact, I even got the next night because I knew what was going on. I was busy. I watched every second of the match. It was long. I've got one thing to say about the match. I thought that Djokovic kind of beat himself in the respect that he wasn't going after Alcaraz's power. And so when they started doing that drop stuff, now I heard the numbers were on unforced errors was about even, but Djokovic had a few more. I thought it is when you have the unforced error. That's what I always find. It's not necessarily it's like when you have an error in a game, baseball game, like when you have the error is what usually affects the outcome of it. And I thought at times that Djokovic had some unforced errors that were uncharacteristic, and it got the kid back in the game. But I give the kid Alcaraz huge props because he won the match. He didn't. Djokovic didn't lose. The kid won the match. And I look at it this way: when Djokovic won the 4th set, everybody and their brothers said, "Okay, the kid's going to collapse in the 5th set, and we're going to have a champion. We're going to have a."
Well, I wasn't so sure about that.
I wasn't either. I thought the kid played great. I thought he played really. I thought, like I said, it was one of the best Wimbledon finals I've seen in years.
Well, it was like pretty close to dead even in terms of like point score.
Yeah, that was pretty easy, and that's what I said. Yeah. I was surprised when I looked afterwards and I seen the unforced errors, and I think it was only 2 more. I think the Joker already had 2 more, which is nothing in a 5-set 4-hour match. It's really that should be nothing. But I really believe that some of the unforced errors were at a particular time, especially in the 3rd set. That's kind of got the kid ahead. But I think we're going to see this guy for years to come. And he's
two majors already.
2 already, and he's from Spain. He grew up on clay. Hasn't won a French Open yet. But I mean, the French Open's coming. What I'm saying is
that passed.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the future.
Oh, okay.
He should be a guy that's setting up for no problem in winning the French due to the fact that he's grew up on clay. I also think that it's going to be very interesting for this U.S. Open this year because they're going to be. That's going to be everyone's going to want to see that again. There was a couple other players that reared their head, including that Eugene Eubanks guy, who just happened to be African American, and people got a big kick out of this going too far. I just think he had a run. I think he's going to get some primetime games on TV in America because who are the big American tennis stars now?
On the men's side, not really.
That's what we're saying. Okay.
On the women's side, you got Coco Gauff.
Oh yeah, and there's a couple others that are going to rear their heads that are younger ones, but they were saying they're wondering if this guy's going to get a little bit more play. I think what the story is going to be is everyone's going to look for another.
Alcaraz Djokovic final?
Yes, they're going to want another final, and I think that it'll turn out a little bit differently. I think that'll actually be tougher for Djokovic to win this one because this kid's a powerhouse on hard courts. Considering he grew up on clay, his game is designed. That's why he's already won a U.S. Open.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got to give him that. But it was a great match, and everyone paid tuned to the U.S. Open, which is coming up in a month. Not about a month, 6 weeks, whatever the case may be.
My favorite tennis major.
It is, yeah, me too. Because you know what it is? I like the late nights when they put it in prime time and they get the great matches. So congratulations to, what's his name? Carlos Alcaraz, right?
Yep.
Carlos Alcaraz, at 20 years old, has won his 2nd major. He will be in the count in 10 years from now. He'll be in the count for many majors. He will be the guy to beat. There's nobody, I haven't seen anybody else on the tour that's got the firepower that this kid has. Congratulations at 20 years old for your 2nd major.
And have you seen Nick Kyrgios, his new set of tattoos he's got on his back?
No.
He covered his back in Pokemon tattoos. And I got to say, I'm a Pokemon guy. That's my generation's thing. It looks very badass.
Really?
Yeah. He's got Blastoise, one of my favorites, on the back. I thought that was so cool.
So did he do this while he was talking to his shrink?
I don't know.
That is a player. I'm not going to diss on him because he's a great player, but I just think he's a head case. And now that he's going to see a shrink, he is a head case. And I don't want to go there because mental health is a very serious and sensitive matter in our society today. So I don't want to like bring it down like I'm talking negatively about something like that. But this guy was crazy from the get-go. The smashing of the racket, screaming at refs.
Yeah.
And God, he should have won a major by now. He's a big boy with a lot of juice. Let's see. You know what? Let's just hope that he comes back and plays up to his potential and gives us some of the matches and maybe gives somebody like Alcaraz a run. Well, that's what we can hope for.
What better time than the U.S. Open?
And he's playing. He's playing in the U.S. Open, so it should be good.
There we go. Yeah. Shout out to the Argos. 6-0 start for the first time in 88 years after a 31-13 win against Saskatchewan at Touchdown Atlantic in Halifax yesterday.
Interesting. They played there, right?
Yep.
I do believe that since we will promote that show later, but I do believe that eventually a CFL team will have to land in the East Coast somewhere to balance the league when we know that the Toronto Argonauts will be in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, it won't be the Argonauts.
What was the attendance? Did you get the attendance?
30,000? I don't even think the stadium's that big. It's a little like University Stadium.
Acadia, wasn't it?
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, yeah. St. Mary's in Nova Scotia, right?
Halifax.
Halifax, yeah. That's not big. I still think that's about 20,000 seater though. I hope it was sold out.
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of the camera shots last night. I think it. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was. I don't know.
I hope it was just for the sake of the CFL. But the bigger story is the 6-0 start. And the quarterback play of Mr. Kelly,
Chad Kelly.
His quarterback play is outstanding, extraordinary in this league. And it's also good because we do know that he's had some off-field issues
in the past.
That it seems to have erased this, and he's become taking the game very seriously.
Yeah.
Have you seen him yesterday, which I did? I see more of the other game. The guy's got a good arm. Guy can throw the football. He looks around. I think that there should be no reason why the Argonauts. We can start talking about back to back here. But I think it's fairly premature to start talking about an undefeated season. I was in a box at the Jays game yesterday, and it did come up about how can the Argonauts go undefeated. I'm going 18 game schedule and playoffs, highly unlikely.
Yeah,
and considering it's only happened once in the history of any football league.
Well, there you go.
Oh, except in college, but that's different. But in any professional football league, it's only happened once. We know that. But good luck to the Argos of getting there. I think that what we should also do is the next show, if we'll do that, because I'm terribly unprepared today, people. But
I was just going to say the Argos should walk to the Grey Cup final, like seeing how weak the Eastern Division is.
I was getting at that.
And really in the West, it's really only Winnipeg and BC that look like serious contenders anyways.
That's what I'm saying. So they should get through there. What I want to do is I just want to, I'm going to pour over the statistics columns in the CFL because we really should be recognizing a couple of players, a couple of wide receivers and running backs that are playing for the Argos because they're pretty dynamic and they also have a good O-line. Which, if you have no O-line, you have no football team.
And Harris became the 5th all-time leading rusher yesterday.
That's right.
So
congratulations to the Argo and their 6-0 start. They are the best team in the city, which, by the way, we don't want to talk about the worst team in the city being
Toronto FC.
But I think it would be remiss, and we're going to be talking about soccer another way there, is that I am not a soccer guy, as you know. I'm not an MLS guy, as you know. But Messi's introduction to the MLS is just less than spectacular. Is that how you would put it?
Oh, yeah. Already on display with a couple big goals.
Oh, and the first goal right up when he got that extra
set piece, yeah.
Oh, that was a beautiful goal. And then he scores 2 the next game. You know what I mean? And this Inter Miami team has been a doormat for the league. And all of a sudden, I think they got enough games. If they run the table, they can get in the playoffs. Is that the word?
Yeah, because, in soccer, you get the 3rd point for a win, right?
Yeah, so I think the word is if they run the table, because I think they got, 12 games left?
That sounds about right.
Give or take. I'd have to check it out.
I'm not game season.
Yeah, I'm not an aficionado on MLS. Let's get that straight. However, I've often believed, as a lot of people believe, that soccer is not going to change in the country. What's going to make it more popular? Well, I figured your generation and people coming behind have made it more popular in the country. So the question is the MLS a better league than the Saudi league, which Ronaldo seems to be saying is a better league, which I just think is sour grapes, don't you?
Oh, of course. I mean, the only guy who's saying that is Ronaldo.
That's the only one. And I don't know. I've never seen a Saudi game. I don't know the type of players that are going there. But our guy, I keep saying his name wrong,
Mbappe. Well, he turned down the money.
He turned down this. I thought that should be brought up. He turned down the money. How do you turn down that much money?
Well, I mean, I guess you view it as like, well, you're going to play in Saudi Arabia.
I heard he comes from a very righteous family from a religious point of view. That's what I've been hearing. I don't know. Again, I'm no soccer aficionado, but I have heard that he comes from a family that's, I guess you could have a higher spiritual intake than most families in the world. So therefore, he thought that the money was too dirty. But if you don't think this guy is getting his cash, you're out of your mind.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
He's
on the way to Barcelona, I think.
Athlete, Real Madrid.
Oh, Real Madrid. Okay.
Sticking with soccer, it's Women's World Cup. Canada 1 win, 1 draw. They drew Nigeria their first match. Christine Sinclair missing on her penalty kick, but then it's okay. They beat Republic of Ireland next game. Now we got Australia tomorrow. A draw gets us into the round of 16.
Oh, I think we're going to get there too. One of the things I'm interested in that, I've only watched the part of the Nigerian game. That's all I watched, because I thought they were going to get a goal and win, but they didn't. But my point
Nigeria was playing some lockdown defense.
Oh, and big girls on that Nigerian team too, right? Mm-hmm. I think they were playing not to lose. Personally,
I mean they play a tight system,
very tight, and they run well. Those girls can boogie.
Yeah.
My thing is, I'm very curious as to what the ratings are looking like. I'm looking like it's getting big play on ESPN in North America. It's getting great coverage from the sports networks here in Canada, because that's considered one of our premier national teams, no doubt.
Of course.
But I'm really wondering about the attendance-wise, because me being a fanatical sports fan that I am, I really don't pay much attention to women's soccer. Yeah. But I will take a look, because I'm cheering for our girls, and I hope that they're one of the favorites in this.
They're top 10 ranked in the world, right?
And the draw is as such that the Americans can play the Canadians in the final. It is set up that way, correct?
It is.
It's not supposed to be a setup, of course, and there's always a but. I think it is set up for the Americans. I'm just saying, go Canada. I think this Sinclair girl, what a great leader. If nothing else, she's been around now. Like, what is this? This is her 3rd World Cup, isn't it?
Oh boy.
Or is it her 4th?
Maybe even her 4th.
But she's a great leader, and the way she carries herself, and especially when you see her on the field running over, talking to players all the time. So she's almost like a coach on the field, so to speak, kind of deal. But go Canada! Big win tomorrow against the Aussies, and let's see you in the round of 16. Don't you agree?
I agree. I want to talk to you about a couple of little games I discovered. So there's Puckdoku, and then there's crossover grids. So this has been my little addiction lately. So basically, you're given a 3x3 grid, and you have 3 teams on top, or categories of somehow, and then on the side, and then you just got to put the player that fits those 2 categories in the box. So let's say Philadelphia and Florida intersect, you got to pick a player that's played for the Panthers and the Flyers.
Which would be...
I put Sergei Bobrovsky.
Oh, yeah, that's. I was thinking of a goalie, too. I was thinking of somebody earlier than that, but that's good. That's an interesting game. I'm glad you're showing it to me, because I'm going to show it to some buddies, because you know what that's going to end up being? That's going to be bar talk.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Around the games. While guys are watching the games, guys are going to pull out the grid and say, what do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you know? Which makes it always good, because I think that games like this expand your knowledge.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? I think that's the number one thing, what you gain in understanding of sports. Right away when you showed it to me and I seen Yager on there, I thought it was interesting. You got to say, what is it? Yager and Dominic Moore.
The free plays.
The jokers in the deck. You just bring them in. I think there's probably a few other guys that if you think about it now. Who I was just thinking on Toronto that just got picked up by another team. What's his name? I think that'll be his 3rd or 4th team. Not Riley. What's his name? We got him, but then he left. I mean, you guys got him and left. What's his name?
Achari?
Achari, yeah. I think this is his 3rd team already, isn't it?
4th team.
4th team already. So there's
Boston, St. Louis, Toronto, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so there's a few of them around.
But so the caveat is they had to have played a game for that team. So I think one time I put Andre Iguodala for the Grizzlies, but he never played for the Grizzlies, so he didn't count.
Oh, that's right. He did. He was on the roster, but he didn't play. Right?
Yeah.
It was one of those deals, right? And he got traded then before he even got there. There's somebody else. There's a couple guys like that around the league.
So then there's Puckdoku, that's just hockey, and there's crossover grids, which has hockey, basketball, football, and soccer.
I would advise everybody to take a look at these games. Now that I'm just discovering it right now this morning, I will be pulling it up here when the guys are here watching the games.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's I mean, I hate to use the word trivia, but in a way it's kind of a trivia game. However, like I said, the knowledge you will gain.
Why are people scared of that word trivia? I never got that.
Because it's derived from the word trivial.
Oh my God.
So you don't want to be a trivial person.
There was a Jeopardy guy who went on a rant about that, and like people were just like, "Oh my God." Like, I don't know. It just sounds obnoxious. Like, just call it trivia. Who cares?
Oh, it's never bothered me, but I think that you would.
It is trivial in a way. Like, it's just like whatever random knowledge. Like, we're not gonna like do anything.
No, it's not going to split the atom or anything like
exactly.
that. But like I said, I like the fact that I'm going to gain knowledge in doing as such. I think the trivial thing is that it's an insult to somebody if you trivialize them. Trivialize them. That would make it a what would you say? You would insult the person in a weird kind of manner. But I think it's a great trivia game. What's it called?
Puckadoku, and then there's crossover grids.
I would suggest anybody that's a sports fan. I'm actually going to put it up on a couple of my group chats. You know, like my football group chat and stuff like that, because I think a lot of the boys will be very, very interested in that aspect of guessing through the game, knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Bet beers on it, whatever the case may be, because gambling's going to get involved. Because that's what happens. It's about gambling. You know what I mean?
So one last thing before we jump to our Toronto Blue Jays. I have a question for you, Cruz, about your famous, infamous 4-screen setup.
Oh, it's the best.
So we know that. We know that. But when watching your 4-screen setup, is it always just 4 channels on sports, or do you have like a movie on sometimes? Are you putting like music videos on, or like YouTube, maybe an adult film? I don't know.
I would say that we would only lean towards something musical or something adult.
Okay.
That's about. No, there will not be. No, Seinfeld's not playing in the corner.
Not watching like Taxi Driver in one screen.
No, it's not on there. It is strictly sports all the time, except for the occasional adult. You know, just something to. What would you call it? Enhance my creativity.
Okay. Is
that the way to put it? And music, of course, because everybody knows I'm a music junkie. So what happens is I do this sometimes. I will find I recently did this with Joni Mitchell because she had a famous band that actually had Jaco Pastorius and Pat Metheny and Don Alias. If you know anything about music, these guys are top of the line players. So I get tired of sports announcers and the, what would you call it? The trivial things that they bring up during the game or how ludicrous they sound. Yeah. I just got to turn some announcers off. I can't stand them. So sometimes I'll put on some music to play, which drives my wife crazy. Because she'll be going down there, she goes, "What? I thought you were watching the games," and she'll hear music cranking in one of the TVs. But a lot of times what I do too is I keep the volume low on a couple of screens and I am listening, because I do like listening to baseball and I do like listening to Shulman and Buck. I think they're an outrageously good combination, because you get a lot of baseball. I don't know if you have MLB, but I've got MLB, and of course late night when I work afternoons I get home, so I get to see a lot of different West Coast games, and I get to see a lot of teams of announcers that come up and do the games, and I just find that Buck and Shulman are the best. You know what I mean? First of all, Buck's knowledge of the game, Buck Martinez, if you don't know who I'm talking about, his knowledge of the game, especially from a catcher's point of view, and Shulman being in the game for how many years, there are little nuances that they remind you of in the game. I think is they don't bore me. Yeah. Like, they don't bring up the obvious. They don't state something that I'm going to know 17 times. They broadcast a game that they'll bring up something that you know, that stimulates my mind. So I don't mind hearing them. I have a lot of trouble with hockey play-by-play guys.
Anyone you want to name?
No, we'll do that during the season. When the hockey season comes out, I'll have a show just where I'm going to trash some of these guys. I'm going to start with that whole Boston organization, to tell you the truth.
Jack Edwards. I mean, he's notorious. So
notoriously bad.
Oh, I don't think there's a fan base out there besides the Bruins that likes him.
Oh no, and there's a couple other guys that I don't like either. I think it's either Columbus or the Carolina team. They're terrible. I forget who it is, and it's an ex-hockey player. He talks like a curling rock. That's what his voice reminds me of, a curling rock, like going down the thing, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it hits something, sometimes it doesn't hit anything at all.
It's just good. floats on by.
I will something that it's interesting that you brought it up because people think it's nuts. Like the first time they come into my man cave and they see it, they go, "Whoa!" This has developed over years, being the sports junkie that I am. But I'm going to tell you this: when you do put on a lot of games, the harder game to watch is hockey. You know what I mean? The hockey is the hardest if you're watching 4 screens. Even if we're in shoeies and there's a lot of screens up here and you're watching the games, it's a lot easier to watch 2 or 3 football games or 2 or 3 baseball games because the speed of hockey is hard to, you got to really pay attention. So, your eyes are going back and forth. I think it's even easier to watch basketball. So when you people,
basketball, there's a lot more like stop and go.
Exactly, but you will find in the future anyone who aspires to have the setup that I have, or when you're in a multi-screen place, you will notice that hockey is the hardest to focus on multi-games. I can watch 2 hockey games at once.
Well, okay, let's stop talking about hockey. It's
okay,
we have plenty of time.
When the season is coming, but yes, I do. The only things I watch is sports and music. That is it, and I enjoy it immensely. That's the reason why maybe I've acquired a modicum of knowledge about these things called sports. How do you put it?
There we go.
Okay.
So let's move on to our Toronto Blue Jays.
And baseball in general, which is getting extremely interesting, don't you think?
Sure is. I mean, Jays 4.5 games out of first place, which is a lot closer than I thought we'd be at this point.
Okay,
we are holding on to the second wild card seed. We're tied actually with Houston.
Okay, so let's go back to a bunch of shows ago and some of the things that we've been saying because, all you guys that are listening, and this is out to you, BOH, personally. This is personal. I'm not jumping on the Jays bandwagon. And I've been told by more than one person that I've been actually a little harsh on our Toronto Blue Jays. And I'm saying I am not going to stop the way that I feel because I think they're going to back into the playoffs. And I think if they play a serious team for a 7-game series, that we're going to be in trouble. For example.
So you're basically like reading off my notes, basically. Because I have
really?
here Jays might make the postseason because they're the best of the mushy middle.
Yes.
And they'll get killed in the wild card series again.
I don't know. I think they might. Because, say they get... I don't know who they'd get in the wild card, but maybe they'll get...
It's lining up to be... It would be Houston right now.
I think they can beat Houston. What they have to go back to doing, people, is they have to go back to beating their own division. That's what's killing them. If they played 500 in their division right now, they'd be in first place.
When's their next series against a division team? That's not for a while,
the biggest series of... No. The biggest series of the year is starting tomorrow against
Baltimore.
4 games against Baltimore. Wow. We have to win 3 of those. This is where we got to show that we have a pitching superiority.
Yeah.
This is it, because I really believe, and I said this earlier, that I don't think that Baltimore had enough pitching that's going to take them to the end. Now they're in first place, and their starting rotation is looking a lot stronger than I originally thought it was going to be. You know what I mean?
They're top 10 in quality starts as well.
Top 10 in quality starts. I think, are they top 10? I thought they might even been top 5. No, they're 6 or
top 10.
They're top 10.
They're 10th exactly, actually.
Okay. So, and their young hitters are good, and they've
not that good though, surprisingly. Like they don't
solid.
No, I know they have a couple guys who are like close to 800 OPS, but the only guy who's over 800 is Ryan Mountcastle, who doesn't even have 300 at bats yet.
No, but he's had some injury issues.
Still, though, he's the only guy. Is my point.
He's a damn good ball player. But I'm going to tell you the difference between, and I've been hearing this from other people, and I don't necessarily agree. The thing about Baltimore is, if you see them on 7 days in a row, 6 lineups are going to be the same. Okay, now they might have a little bit of a platoon system, but it's understood it's a platoon system, so you know that on this day this guy's going to play blah blah blah. My point is, did you see the Blue Jays lineup yesterday, which they won with? Didn't score a run till how many innings?
Was the
how
fifth,
many guys?
Sixth?
Fifth, sixth. They left 11 men on base up to that point, which is insane. No, I think they only left 7. We actually got away with it because.
I know the Angels had trouble with
yes,
men on base.
They had they actually beat. We had what was it? No, we had 7. They had 11. Yeah. By that one time, I want to shout out to Mr. Manoa because I did happen to be at the game yesterday, and he was genuinely shook up when he hit Buddy in the face with the pitch. Did you see the pitch?
I missed that one.
Oh, he nailed the guy. You know what I said? The guy should have ducked. But then everyone yelled at me in the booth, "Stop it, that sounds brutal." I said, "You should have ducked." But by the way, Manoa hit 3 guys.
Control still an issue.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an issue. He only walked 1. I'm saying this. Mr. Schneider, do you know how to run a pitching staff?
Oh, there's a lot of people who have been calling him Montoyo 2.0 lately online.
Do you understand why they're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar philosophy, should we say?
Oh, well, here's the deal. First of all, I don't want to bring this part up in sports because it takes away from what I believe in as a competition.
Then don't bring it up.
No, I have to bring it up this way. Money's involved in the game and contracts.
Sure.
I don't want to lose a guy because Schneider pissed him off and took him out with an out away from getting a win or a quality start or something that goes on your record to say that you pitched 20 games. Because you got to pitch 5 innings to get
the quality start, yeah.
Or to say that you've that's your start. Anything less than that, you're a bum. So let's just see now. He's yanked Kikuchi twice in the 4th. He's let, which is, he's a head case anyway. Sorry to say it, Mr. Bassett, get your act together. He's got yanked going into the 5th twice, even with his 10 wins.
Yeah.
He's got yanked. So what I'm trying to get at is this is an up and down pitching rotation. Okay? I say we got 3 number 2s and a couple number 4s. We do not have an ace. I think Gozman is in the position to be an ace now, but he's going to come out there and throw that game where he's going to give up 6 runs in the middle of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But
as of now, he's our number 1 starter for the playoffs.
Oh, he has to be, and he's pitched very, very well. So
Rios would be my number 2, I think.
Oh, Rios would have to be number 2, but he's another guy. He's number 2 because he's a number 2. He's not a number 1. And we have to worry about what they're going to do. What I'm really curious about is how we're going to establish who has what role in the bullpen. Okay? Now, everyone said the other night when we blew the game to the Dodgers, okay, we had 4 runs, and everybody screamed at Swanson. Nobody could pitch because everybody's arms fell off. We seen what Romano did. You see how Romano that saved the game before? You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay. So right now we got to establish where our bullpen is going and who's going to do what. But I'm also going to say this. You say that our defense is one of the best in baseball, right?
By runs against, yes.
By runs against, okay.
We're like top 5 in the majors.
Okay, I'm going to go by the eye test. The eye test tells me this. Our defense needs some work. Exhibit A. Espinal had a brain fart. He's my favorite infielder on the team. You guys know that. I wish he was the shortstop. He had a brain fart. He should have went home, right, with the ball. And that guy kept on running and scored and tied it. But I want everybody to go back, if you can find it, which I did on my PVR and my 4-screen setup, and I rewound that play 4 times. Because you know what really happened? And you can't tell a person not to do this. Guerrero knocked the ball down. He shouldn't have touched the ball. If Guerrero doesn't touch that ball, it's a routine shot to Espinal. He steps on second base. He throws it. The first inning's over. Jays win. Nobody. Have you heard anybody bring that up?
Not one.
Thank you. Now go back and look. Now, am I going to tell Guerrero not to try that hard? No. That would be nuts. However, in the focus of a game, which you're supposed to be knowing what you're doing, great day yesterday, buddy, by the way. No, I got to take the wife out for dinner, but we'll get back to that. Sorry. Beer show, everyone. Get down the beer show. Sorry for the interruption. In any event, I'm bringing this up because a couple people they went back and they took a look and they said, Cruz, you got an interesting point there. And I'm saying the reason it's an interesting point is we got to look at all aspects of the game. Everybody wanted to throw Espinal under the bus. He had a nanosecond to make a decision. There was there 2 outs then? And the guy kept on running? Maybe it was. It wouldn't have been a double play.
1.
In any event, if you go back and look at the play, it was a routine ground ball to Espinal. You look where they're playing, but Guerrero was way off the bag. Like I'm talking about halfway between first and second, and he dove to get the ball. And I cannot say it enough that you cannot tell the guys not to try. Like that was just a valiant effort and Guerrero's all energy, all effort, all the time. I love that about him. But when do you learn to get out of the way? You seen afterwards, as I was watching, this is how ridiculous I am with the PVR going back. Espinal went over to him and they had to talk too. Yeah. And everyone says, Guerrero, what did Guerrero say to Espinal? Nothing. Espinal said to Guerrero, you should have let it go, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those little things are going to kill the Blue Jays. That's what I'm worried about. The ball over Varsho's head in the Seattle game. What was he thinking? Remember in the corner?
Yeah.
He took a step in it. That looked like Gurriel to me. Okay, that was a Gurriel play. So I will take Gurriel's defense back, and I want to apologize to Mr. Gurriel for all those games I made fun of him last year when he let the ball go over his head and then threw the guy out at third base. And everyone said, spectacular play. No,
So-
go ahead.
Would you have guessed that we've been away for 2 weeks with Cruz going a mile a minute here?
Just because I've been watching a lot of baseball, which we should be talking about, because one of the things that you have brought up, and we should be thinking about this very seriously because it's only 5 days away.
I'm going to get to the deadline soon, but I want
Okay.
to ask you, did you see Chapman's conversation with John Schneider about pitching to Ohtani?
No, I heard that.
So you could read his lips and you could see what he was saying, where he's basically like, why are we pitching to him? He's the only guy on that team that can fucking hit.
Exactly. And you know what I don't...
But at the same time, it was still an early inning situation. It's like, what, you're just going to pitch around him?
Challenge him.
Exactly.
And you know what the problem is? Because we can't score. So
Even though
it's earlier in the game, no, and our run production looks great. I'm going by the eye test.
yeah.
You know, runners in scoring position, men left on base, all that kind of nonsense. What I don't like, and another newbie about baseball, and you know I hate those little things that they do to change the game. I don't want you to point to first base and tell the go guy down. We're not playing softball. This is a Niagara Falls tournament at the end of the year. We're playing slow pitch. And you send the guy down to first base. Throw those 4 pitches. You know what? I don't know if you can find it on YouTube, but I'm going to go home and see if I can find it. Did you ever see the classic game when they went to walk Vlad Sr.? It was an intentional walk.
Was Angels or Expos?
I think it was still Expos. Intentional talk. Put his foot in front of the bag. Hack the ball down the right field line and got a base hit.
I can't do that anymore.
You can't do it?
No, because now it's just like you just like signal you want to walk the guy. You don't have to actually throw
That's
the
why I
pitches.
wanted them to throw the 4 pitches. It's
Yeah, but that's just a
baseball.
waste of time.
Stop it, you kids. You can wait for 4 goddamn pitches.
This is something even my
4 pitches.
Hold on.
Throw the ball.
Hold on. This is something even my parents are on my side about. They're like, why do you have to throw the pitches? Just let them.
Mrs. Milani, I love you so much.
Mr. and Mrs. Milani. This is my dad's on this side too.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I thought your dad would be with me.
No, he's
Mr.
like
Milani.
it's a waste of time.
Stop it. I love the Milani family, and I haven't even met them all yet. But you guys go back and say, make them throw the goddamn ball. It's baseball. This isn't slow pitch. You know what? We don't have it. We don't have a safety bag. Okay? You know what I mean?
No one's calling for a safety bag.
Well, we're going to get there pretty damn soon. They made the bag bigger.
Okay.
So next is going to be a safety bag, so no one runs into each other and we're all safe. Isn't that nice? Let's just let the guy walk down. I want to have a chance, a guy like Vlad Sr. taking a hack at a fucking bad pitch and getting a double.
Well, there's no one like Vlad Sr. anymore who would have done that
Greatest
anyways.
bad ball. No, yeah, him and George Bell. No, there was another guy in Toronto Blue Jays. Ask your parents about them if they remember Damaso Garcia.
That's a name I've not heard, so.
Go and ask your parents if he wasn't one of the best bad ball hitters. That guy hit a ball out of the dirt one time at Exhibition Stadium off the wall. The ball actually, the ball, the bat, and the dirt all came in configurations at the same time, doubled off the wall. He was another bat. The point is, I'm getting a little irritated. These little tiny things that change the game.
That's just how sports evolves, though. You
Really?
said, yes. What about the mound moving down?
Well,
That happened
that
before
was in
your time.
1969.
Oh, but this is 2023.
So
What's your point?
The point is that, okay, we got it back then because we had Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Warren Spahn, Juan Marshall, Don Drysdale, yada, 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 yada. Okay, so what had happened was...
Okay, we don't need a history lesson. But
okay,
like,
but what I'm saying is I understood because the scoring went down low and everybody said it had to be more scoring because they also just did is when they just changed the division too.
okay, well now people are complaining that like the games are dragging on too long.
Okay, and I'm not going to go against that because sometimes I do admit that there was times when, and I'm not going to say who, but people take so goddamn long doing shit that it just pisses
No,
you off.
we know who you're talking about.
Okay, and you know what all the stuff that's going on. So, eliminate that. And they have. And I like the pitch clock because I was watching it a few times, like during the game yesterday, just to see how it's going. And this Detmer guy, he was looking at the pitch clock a few times because they were letting it come down. You don't realize you're at the game and you're constantly looking at it.
Yeah.
Manoah was under 5 at least 90% of the time. He was not like, there's some guys like the Scherzheiser and a few other pitchers, and Bassett, they're throwing within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like they're busy. Barrios is another guy because those guys are let's go, pound the plate and let's go. But
We need to get back on track here. Trade deadline.
yes, I think that we should go after your boy in Chicago,
Stroman.
the Cubs. No, we're not going to get Stroman. We're not. I think that there's just
Bellinger.
Bellinger. I think he's the bat we need in the lineup. You know what I mean?
So I want to ask
where's
you
he
that.
going to play? Okay, go ahead.
So a lot of the noise around this team is saying we need a right-handed bat, which I don't completely understand.
No, I don't agree with that either. We don't have enough left-handed bats.
Yeah, exactly my point.
Yeah, so
we're a very right-handed hitting team, so I don't know why we need to add another right-handed bat. That doesn't make sense to me.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I like Bellinger, and I like the guy on St. Louis. I forget his name, but we should be going after Montgomery, the left-hander. The guy that we got from St. Louis already, what's his name, Cabrera, that pitched yesterday? Yeah. He looked good. I don't trust him. It could be a good pickup. It could be, but you see his ERA and earlier in the year what he was doing? He couldn't get anybody out. However, we have Pete Walker.
Exactly where I was thinking.
We got Pete Walker, and he's the pitching, what do you call, whisperer?
Yeah.
And the kid threw smoke yesterday. Did you see him come in?
Oh, yeah.
Control problems. I can see what's control problems, but then again, when people throw that hard, there's going to be control problems. Do you think Green will be our closer? We got 2 months to figure this out. And are you confident in Romano being the closer?
No.
Thank you.
No.
What did I say at the beginning of the season?
Oh, that he won't be the closer by the end of the year. And he's going that way.
Does his arm look dead to you?
There's something off.
Okay.
But I mean, he had this last year too, so I think this is kind of just like par for the course with Romano. He's a good, not great reliever.
That's exactly. That's going to put it. So I'm gonna throw something out here. That I'm going to ask you. Now that we're talking about trade deadlines and getting pitchers and all this stuff, I have this theory right now. One day last week, they scored more runs. Did you hear about this? They scored more runs on a full slate of baseball games than any time since I think it was 1930.
Like the entire league.
The entire league.
Yeah.
When they added up all the runs they scored that day.
Wow.
It was something like since 1940 or 1960. Anyways, I'd like to look.
And this was for yesterday's games?
No, it was a game, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's why I forgot my other book. I had it written down in my other book. Forgot my book, too, because I was sleeping, and I had it down there. But what I'm getting at is this, okay? I said that Tampa Bay would come back to the pack. I thought they had their two early schedules, and they're my template for this theory. They don't have a starting rotation. They keep doing that bullpen.
But they got Tyler Glasnow back, though, and he's looking really good.
Oh, no, he looked great, but I'm saying they only have 4 real starters, right?
I mean, so does the Blue Jays.
Oh, that's true. But Blue Jays are going to have 6 because the Korean's pitching on Tuesday.
Wait, who are you counting as 6?
Ryu.
And he's Japanese, but that Korean, okay.
Yeah, the guy, how do you say his name? Ryu, yeah. Okay. Ryu's pitching on Tuesday, I heard.
Really?
That's what the word around the campfire is. Now, it hasn't been etched in stone. But I've heard a lot of. I'll take it too. But the word is he's going to start Tuesday against the Orioles. Apparently, he's had a good record against the Orioles in the past. I don't know if I heard that. Might have even heard that in Overdrive.
I mean, that's probably been like a small sample size considering he was with the Dodgers for
That's what I'm trying to say too. When I heard it, I went, "Huh? What? He's only played for us 2 years."
Like, what has he been like? How many starts does he have against the Orioles? Like
3
4 or 5? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When I heard a number like that, I went, I don't know if that's the reason, but I mean, I heard something about his record against Baltimore or something.
Well, this is about the time they said they wanted him back anyway, so I think that's probably more it.
And a big series against a team in the East. But here's my point, and that's why I say Tampa Bay is this. With these, number one, John Schneider, and it's the word around the city, and everyone says it, he's yanking the pitchers too soon.
I totally agree.
Okay, so we're going out. So what does that mean? That means your bullpen's up more. They're throwing more. They're constantly getting up, throwing. Oh, we're going to rotate the guys. We're going to rotate guys. Well, that Jaime Garcia guy, we almost threw his arm off by June.
And when's this going to bite us in the bum?
It's getting Tampa Bay right now because now their relievers, their ERA has gone up a run. Their bullpen has gone up a run since, what is it, June 1st? Mm-hmm. Like compared to the first 2 months now. And why is it? Because those guys are throwing over. Yeah. So I'm saying there's a couple other teams out there. That's why Texas ran and got Scherzer from Scherzer because they you see their bullpen was great. They've been wearing it out. The Dodgers, they're in big trouble because we just seen them. You see their bullpen? A mess. Why? Because they're using everybody, and they've had starter problems with injuries too.
By the way, can I just say that Jays Dodgers series? What an atrocity!
Thank you very much.
That should have been a sweep. Yeah, that should have been a sweep.
But you know what? I know it should have been a sweep after the horrible series with Seattle. Like they played. Like I don't know. You know, honestly, even though they won 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers and they should have swept them.
Yeah.
Those 6 games are some of the worst baseball I've seen the Jays play all season.
2 of them went to extras. None of them shouldn't even gone. Shouldn't even
got there, and they all got the extra because of bad baseball. Bad pitching, bad defense on both teams.
Yeah, bad everything.
Yeah, on both teams. Seattle played atrocious. They were awful.
Well, it's with Mookie Betts playing second base.
He used to do that when he was younger. That's what I don't understand.
Like he wasn't doing. Someone said that he did that on the Red Sox, but I don't ever remember that.
I do. He came up and he did that. Actually, when he was coming up, he was thinking about being a short, because you see his arm.
Oh yeah,
got a cannon arm. He was an infielder.
Well, that's why he's right field.
Exactly. And I've seen him throw a couple guys out in the last week too. Like before the Jays, the series before that, he did that classic off the wall, right? Throw the guy out at third. Just a missile, but. What I'm getting at here is that I'm thinking that Baltimore has been wise. If you look what they've done with their pitching staff, they kind of mirrored the Jays in that. You really got to hope you have only 5 or 6 guys starting. Tampa Bay's had about 9 guys start, maybe 10. Let's look around the league. Who's all playing? Minnesota is tight with their rotation. Cleveland's all over the board.
They lead the league in quality starts.
Yes,
actually.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying. They're solid, and they've only had, I think, 6 or 7 guys start. It's a huge. It's the gospel according to Cruz, really. But I do believe that if you only have so many guys going, it takes away from the overuse of your bullpen.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? And if you're looking right now, if you're looking what's going on in the standings, the top teams in the league, the top. Let me get this here. If I can get the standings up, come back to me. Standings. If you look at the top teams that are going to get it, Atlanta, they're winning the World Series right now. I'm going to tell you that. I think there's no team better. They are just that good. But you look at their team, and what do they have? They got a bunch of starters. They've got defined roles in the bullpen. If this is the 5th or 6th inning and the starter has trouble, you know Buddy's coming out. If it's 7th inning, it's back of the day. Buddy's coming out. And, you know, they've got that trail of guys, and they've got 2 starters. And here's the crazy thing. They got that Freed kid who hasn't even – he's supposed to be coming back in August, and he was supposed to be their number one. Yep. You know, Strider is the best pitcher in baseball this year. Do you think so?
Yeah,
he's the best pitcher in baseball. He's going to win Cy Young in the National League.
After winning Rookie of the Year.
After winning Rookie of the Year, yes. I think he's going to win Cy Young. He's just pitched. He's been a man. I like his moxie. But, I mean, and the way they're set up, and Atlanta's good defensively from the outfield, and they got a stack of hitters. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird that I wonder if Freeman ever regrets leaving, because he's won a World Series now with the Dodgers, right? Or did he? No, the Dodgers won, and then he hasn't won one. He won one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but any event, I sometimes the whole series against Toronto, every time I see Freeman, I think that he should still be in Atlanta. I don't know, even it's 2 years here, it's just that kind of thing. But Atlanta, 25-man roster, very serious team. I think they're going there. And if you check their quality starts, the way they use their bullpen, I think they're in line to do it. I don't think that anybody can Minnesota win then, like with that starting rotation, and they go into the playoffs and they're solid and they're not overused. They could sneak. They could be like
The problem is like for Minnesota. Well, that and like the way they're set up, like round 1, they're going up against like a Toronto or like a Houston or a Tampa, maybe even a Baltimore if they fall back a little bit.
I agree, and you know what they're telling me too, which I really wish.
And Atlanta, they're actually middle of the pack in quality starts, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that way, but I mean, they've got 3 guys that won 8 games, haven't they? 3 starters. I
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're there, but I'm not saying what's his name as a quick hook, but if you get raked in the early, like Atlanta does this, which I think is kind of what Schneider's doing, but he's not doing it properly. Like I think he took out Manoah yesterday because I think he knew Manoah was a little bit rocked. Okay, he hit the guy in the face. He's already hit another guy.
Yeah.
But you mean look at though, he didn't give up a run. He went 4 1/3, and he did not give up a run. And I think that if he didn't hit that guy in the face, he would have went to 5 innings and got the win. So maybe Schneider is like that when he took out Kikuchi with 4 2/3, and when he took out Bassett after the 4th, maybe he's reading that. He's saying what a manager's supposed to do, and he's feeling the pitcher and saying, we better get him out before we lose because we need all the wins. Perhaps, maybe. But he can't do it all the time. That's what scares me. I don't know. Like, there's no set pattern of when he does it. Like I've seen times when Barrios or Bassett's been in trouble in the 4th inning and he's let them go through, he leave them in. Yeah. And then sometimes the guy gets raked, sometimes he gets out. And then the next time he yanks the guy out and doesn't give him the opportunity to clean up. So the consistency in handling that is weird, don't you think?
It's off. It's definitely off. It's not like Gibson or Gibby, you know, he Gibbons, rather.
John Gibbons?
Yeah, you knew.
One of the best.
Yeah.
Running a bullpen?
Yeah.
One of the best. Yeah.
You knew when he was going to make the decision, you were always like, I agree with this.
Oh, yeah. And you know what he did? The guys, remember he used to time them for certain days. So if he looked at a series, and he's already looking at Thursday, like Milani will be pitching against so-and-so on Thursday because we're going to see this lineup. Like, he was very cool about shit like that. Have you read his book by any chance?
I have not. I would like to, though.
I would too, because there'd be a lot of Toronto.
Of course, he had 2
specific.
stints here.
Yes. I love when they called him back.
Oh, me too. Yeah, anything else for baseball?
I just want to take a. Oh, where is it now? Why can't I ever get my shit together here? But I will. I just want to say this. I've been harping about this all season long, that filthy American capitalist money sometimes messes up sports. So what I would really like to do is a huge shout out to the Cincinnati Reds, a traditional powerhouse team back in the day, who suddenly reared their heads and saying, F you to the Texases, the New York Mets, the San Diego Padres, the Toronto Blue Jays, the New York Yankees, the Boston Red, all those big money teams. And you got Cincinnati. Now, I don't know if they're going to make it down the stretch. I really don't.
They're half a game back as of now.
Okay, so what they got to hope to do is another thing. I wish things were more division-centric, because before I get away with it and bring it back to Minnesota thing, is I'm saying sometimes is they say that their record may be a little bit flawed due to the fact that they play against horrible teams in their division, being Kansas City and Detroit.
And they also allow a lot of runs. They score a lot of runs, they allow a lot of runs.
So that could be...
Compared to Milwaukee, who they're chasing, who is a little bit more conservative offensively, but they also have a much better pitching and defense staff.
Oh, Milwaukee?
Yeah.
They're solid. Like, people should be like, if there's one team that Atlanta should be worried about, in my opinion, is Milwaukee. They're there every year, and they've brought up a couple young guys. What we're going to do in the next baseball show, because since I forgot my book, I'm naming off names, because one of the things I wanted to say is I think that Toronto should try to sneak Confero off San Francisco.
Oh. Well, I think San Fran's trying to build up, aren't they?
Yeah, but they've got a couple guys that they could use. Like they've got they've got a weird lineup in that. I think they got 12 guys that can play every day.
Okay.
Something like that.
So they have guys to move.
So they got guys to move. And I don't know what we'd have to offer them, because that'd be kind of weird.
That's the problem.
But it'd be kind of weird because there's 2 playoff teams, but Cleveland's done it for years. Like, they've been in the hunt at the trade deadline, and suddenly they
Well, and I mean, we got the Cleveland model too now, I guess you could say. So
that's what I'm getting at. You happen to know where those 2 boys came from, right?
Exactly.
That's the reason why Gibby was out of town too. As soon as they came,
he wasn't their guy.
He wasn't their guy, and they kicked him to the curb. But I'm really want a big shout out, seriously, to the Cincinnati Reds. They're bringing big excitement to the city, to the game. The kid, the D'Lo Cruz kid, I think he should tone down a little bit his antics on the field.
Yeah.
But as a player, he's looking great. They got a couple of good pitchers in there. It looks like, you know what I like about Cincinnati? Every game they're going for it because they're not supposed to be in it. And you got to love a team that's going to go there. Any perspectives on any other teams that you have going into the trade deadline?
That's about it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm.
Well, actually, I was just a little bit like the Angels were my only question. Like, I think they're a little bit too far back at this point. They look like they're starting to add, though, so that could be the wild card here if they get hot and, down the stretch here. But
if I'm the owner, I'm doing everything I can to make the playoffs, because then you're going to show Ohtani that you really want to win.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a disaster. I know Mr. Marino, the owner of the Angels, has got more money than money, which is cool. But Ohtani wants to win. He said it flat out.
Yeah, not sure that's going to happen with the Angels.
So they've got to be buyers and make the run. Now, this is a disaster to come into Toronto and lose 3 straight. If they lose today, they got to salvage a game. I don't think they will. Who's pitching for the Angels today? I think he's a bum.
I'm not sure, actually. Let me look that up.
I think because it's like their 4th or 5th starter, because we missed Ohtani.
Oh, it's already 1-0 Angels. End of the 4th as we speak. The starter for the Angels is Tyler Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But once again, we're in the 4th inning and we haven't scored a run, right?
Nope.
Oh, gee.
Still early.
You got to score some runs early some days. You know what I mean? One more point I want to bring up about baseball. I completely forgot.
And then we'll move on.
Yeah, we're going to move on. Outside of the fact that I really wish that they kept more games in the division, like, how they made it less?
Yeah.
I really wish that they had kept it at that level, because then people say, oh, the main reason that stopped it was American League East. Okay, and everyone said, well, then you got to play each other less. Well, I love that more. It's like football. The thing you like about football is, you got those guys 2 times a year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think that makes the competition even better because we were talking about, a bunch of us in the box now, is baseball's kind of got watered down in this way. There's a DH everywhere. There's always interleague play. There's no real separation. Like, back in the day a little bit more, the National League played this type of ball. Now the American League played that type of ball. There was more junk throwing in the American League than there was in the National League. And that's had to do with the DH now. So everything's blended. So
those lines have been getting blurred for a while now, though.
They have been, but now I'm thinking they're completely blurred. So
yeah, it's like 2 separate. It's conferences as opposed to different leagues.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, and I wish I appreciated that more back in the day when they had that, because that is your rival, and you play 162 games. So if you're going to play that many games and you've added playoff games, I think the battle in the division should go up, not down. Don't you?
Yeah. But I mean, with the expanded wild card now, that makes it a little tougher for some of these teams to
Okay, so let's look at it this
digest.
way. Let's talk about it in 10 years from now. They'll have a safety bag. They'll let guys walk down to first base. It's just going to continue.
Like, you got to embrace the change.
What's that?
It's still baseball at the end of the day.
Get off my lawn. That's all I'm saying. Get off my lawn. In any event, I'm saying right now that I'm seriously believing, like, once they get in the playoffs, I'm calling it an Atlanta and I don't know World Series.
Oh, the American League is just one giant.
Isn't it a mess this year? And you know what? It's really...
Texas could be the team.
Yes, they could, but I think we could beat Texas over 7. I think our pitching's just until they got...
But like, again, let's get the Jays 1 win in the playoffs this year.
Okay.
We haven't won a playoff game since, 2016?
Yeah, since the Batista bat flip days. Okay, so I'm just saying this. Let's sweep the Angels today. I hope that we have more... Baseball re-examines their situation at the end of the year and says, let's have more games in the division or drop the schedule to 152. I heard that.
That's
154.
154, yeah, I heard that too.
And that's a good thing.
Why not?
Yeah, and that's the way it was back in the day. I heard that when they had expansion, the only reason they went to 162 games was to balance the schedule. And that's cool, but that schedule was balanced when? 1964?
Yeah.
That wasn't yesterday. Yeah. Okay, that wasn't yesterday.
We can fix that.
No, so I would prefer if they went back to 154 games, because then they back everything up, because that monolith called the NFL brushes away everything. You know that 2 months from now, it's going to completely...
Oh, just annihilate everything in its
Everything
path.
that's going, and then some.
Especially on this side of the pond.
Exactly. So what would you say... I had a discussion about this real quick, and because we're going to move on about some NBA news that we want to bring up. But how would you look at it this way? I know your opinion about FIFA, so I'm not going to go there. Okay, I know what you think about FIFA. I know what you think about how they get the World Cup, and I know that you. I'm not saying that you're trivializing it, but the case may be is that. But don't you think that the NFL is really the most powerhouse? Like now, there's nothing that can touch it. Even though like this big thing with Messi going to
Formula One.
That's jump. Okay, you stepped on my toes. Okay, what I was going to say is the only thing is that I was going to compare the NFL to on that power was Formula One, but that's elitist.
Yeah, sure.
That's the most elitist. So I don't even, now that I'm watching it more, and I'm going to go home and watch the race, by the way. We will talk about that in a minute. I mean, that's elitist, like over there. That's kind of like, how would you express it? It's like when only so many people are allowed to go to Augusta because that's the membership, like that kind of thing about the F1. And that's what I respect about it. And there's only 20 guys that get rides.
Yep.
And the level of money, sponsorship, and everything is insane. But that's unto itself, because that's a different sport. But I'm actually talking about the physicality. And I'm not going to take nothing away to be in that race car. That long, going that fast, going around there. You better be in shape.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell me that.
Do you see the workouts these guys do?
Oh,
It's
come
insane.
on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I appreciate that, because I didn't realize how much they really do work out to drive these cars. So the average person that's a baseball, football, hockey fan, that's not a sport. Re-examine what we're talking about there on these F1 drivers, because we're 1 million. But my point being is, I don't think there's anything run better than the NFL. I don't think they have the power, because even F1, I've been hearing now people knocking on the door trying to get another team in, or should they eliminate this team, and what happened with the Williams teams?
the one trying to knock on the door, trying to get a team for like the last couple of years now, and they're having a hard time getting in.
Is it because of the Andretti name? Do you think so sometimes?
I think that's a big part of it.
Because their arrogance in the world of motor racing is not respected.
Oh, I understand
You
that.
know what I mean? Like, and I'm not a big race fan, but I know.
Well, Michael André, the one who's leading the charge, his foray into Formula One was not very successful.
No, because he wasn't a Formula One driver.
Well, he did race. Well, he did race with McLaren, and like the problem was he was just like it was just such a horrible start. Even though like his last like 2 or 3 races, he was finally getting some good results, but like he
never got on a podium, did he? I don't think he ever.
No,
made
he got close, but that was it.
Yeah, but that's close with hand grenades and horseshoes. No, I don't remember, but he was a great Indy driver.
For sure. His dad won an F1 title.
Oh yeah, but dad's a whole new. That's a different level of and way back in the day too. But
the Andretti curse is real.
Oh yeah, that's
the point.
That's what I'm getting at, and it's another thing too. I'm glad you brought it up because I would like to see a NASCAR driver jump into a Formula One car just to see what would happen.
We've seen the opposite.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's easier.
And we've seen Jimmy Johnson. It's not quite the same. He went from NASCAR to IndyCar. It was a disaster.
Exactly, because he
was also at the end of his career though. So,
but it's 3 different types of racing.
Sure,
you know what I mean.
I mean, open wheel racing is open wheel. Like Indy and Formula One. Like if those are more like apples to apples. Right?
Oh yeah, closer than than ever than they're out there. But these Formula One cars are 1 in a million. But my point is, not that we're getting on the racing thing, my point being is that I really think that the NFL is, all the other leagues should take a little bit more of looking at them, like how they've even kept the rivalries going.
Sure.
How they set up their scheduling. The whole 9 yards is conducive for the fans running to the games.
Yeah.
Look at golf. Golf has moved their schedule. Why? They don't want to compete. Baseball dropping to a 154-game schedule will get them off the map quicker.
Yeah.
You know that, and hockey's not worried about it and basketball because they just move their things until football's over and away they go. You know what I mean?
Do you actually want to get into Formula One since we're
here now?
There?
Can we give us today's results, buddy?
So, shocker, Max Verstappen wins another race, his 8th in a row, starting from 6th place. It's the first time he's ever won a race from 6th, though. Another record that he took is I think he's got the most wins from different starting positions now.
Really?
Which is
wow.
And him and Michael Schumacher are the only 2 guys to win 10 of the first 12 races of the season.
Not Aaron Senna, none of those guys?
Not Senna, not Hamilton,
really?
Not Vettel.
Wow. That's huge. Now, I just want to say one thing. We at the House That Happens, I think we're Max fans a bit, aren't we?
I really respect the hell out of Max.
How can you not? He's the best driver with the best car. We got that. What I'm liking about Max is if we were watching a movie, he would be like Arnold in Terminator.
Yeah.
He would be
the anti-hero.
I can't wait to get home because I haven't watched it all. And I'm going to go to the end of the race and watch this shit just so Max can come out and whip out his dick. He's getting to a point now, it doesn't even look like he's respecting his competition. Come on, you see him in the after races, he's looking over like, really? Well, I'm glad I heard Leclerc.
Oh, yeah, he actually had a comment on the radio today that I thought was hilarious. So,
really?
So Horner was giving him a little bit of shit for going a little bit too hard on an early stint for his tires. He's like, yeah, you got to be a little bit more careful, whatever, right? So then Max is like, oh, you want me to just go all out now, come back for a pit stop, give him some pit practice?
Oh! That's what I'm talking about, the guy. And even when they show, at the beginning of every time it's F1, they do that flash through and they show all the poses of all the drivers.
Yeah, the intro, yeah.
The intro there. And you just look at Max and you go, what a smug, cocky, whatever. You know what I mean? I wonder, does he have a girlfriend?
Yes, he does.
I bet you she's just a beauty. There's no doubt about that.
She's, oh my God, I'm blanking on. She's the daughter of a Formula One driver.
Oh.
That's Nelson Piquet's daughter.
Oh, really?
He was a 3-time champion.
Yeah, he was, back in the day. I'm just saying because I wonder how he treats her. I hope, he's probably a gentleman.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pass judgment on the guy. What really fascinates me about him is the sheer arrogance. The absolutely, I'm in the room, it's me, and this is all there is to it. You know what I mean? And that kind of arrogance sometimes rubs fans the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you either love Max or you hate him.
Oh, yeah, and I know that. And I'm finding that...
And there's a lot of Max haters out there.
Oh, that's what I'm finding out.
The thing that kills me when you talk to people, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm a Red Bull fan. Oh, you must love Max. No, I hate him.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
what I get that. I've heard a few people said that. They go, Red Bull would be better than that Max guy. He's a real prick, isn't he? He's really... I go, I don't know. I don't know the guy personally. I just see his body language and the way he talks, and I'm laughing because I'm going, this guy is...
That's Formula One, baby.
Exactly. And if you're not there, it was just the same thing as... Who was the other day that I seen something and I'm saying that the problem is that what was it? It was sheer arrogance. When you hear the person talk like that, you try to respect them, but when they just do that, it just sounds. When things sound arrogant, people move away because they say there should be a modicum of what is it, gentlemen?
Yeah.
But listen, when Lewis Hamilton was winning all that time. He had a degree of arrogance about him. Come on, you know what I mean? It's not like Max is the first guy to say,
you could go down the line. Ayrton Senna, Alan Prost, Michael Schumacher.
Remember Prost, that guy? I do remember him just seeing him on interviews and stuff like that.
Oh, he was a prick. He was a prick.
You know what I mean? But, bro, let's think about this. There's only 20 of those guys to get to go out in those 20 races. That cannot be overstated.
Well, 21 this season because someone lost their job, but...
Yeah, okay, but you know what I'm saying? It's 20 times for 20 guys.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. We may be seeing something historic this season. How many races are left now? 8?
10.
10 left?
So he's got a good chance to get the record for most wins in a season.
And that's Schumacher's, right?
Vettel, I believe.
Oh, really?
Because they added more races. I think it's like 15-16 is the record.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. And what I was alluding to before, Nick DeVries lost his seat at AlphaTauri, was replaced. I think we did actually talk about this. Daniel Ricciardo.
He's been. How did he do today?
16th. He didn't have a great race.
Okay, he was better last week then, right?
Yeah, he outperformed Tsunoda this week, but Tsunoda grabbed the last point this week, and Ricciardo was not looking so good. One thing I want to talk about is Alpine made a couple big changes. I don't know if you heard about this.
No.
Otmar Snafnauer fired, team principal.
I like that guy.
Why? He stunk.
I just like the way
he was. He was becoming a punching bag for the internet.
I know that.
And Alpine also fired their sporting director, Alan Permain. So big changes at Alpine. This was their last race with the team.
So who's going to come in next week? Who runs this? This is like a mid-season
Word
firing.
Around the campfire is that it's going to be former Ferrari boss Mattia Binotto.
Really?
Well, because who else? You need a guy with experience, right?
At this time of the season?
Who else is it going to be?
I would know personally.
Mike Crack, the former guy at Aston Martin. Great name, by the way.
But. Oh, yeah. That's like our other guy. What I'm getting at is that this is like a mid-season firing. That's huge, isn't it?
Well, Alpine hasn't been the most steady this season. I think they had
They weren't that steady last year either.
No, but I mean this. Well, exactly. You can go right there. Like it looked like their driver situation was more stable this year, but only one podium this year so far. Like
I didn't even think they had a podium.
Ocon snatched one up in Monaco
because there was an accident in that race, though, right? I think part of the reason he was there because a couple cars got knocked out, so he snuck in the back door.
And Monaco's Monaco. There's no passing, so it's just right place at the right time.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So good for him, but
But I mean, it probably goes back to last season. There was the big debacle with their drivers where they thought they had Piastri in the bag, who I want to get to in a sec. Yeah. But then he's like, no, I'm going to McLaren. Then Fernando's like, no, I'm going too. And all of a sudden they're left with their dick in their hands.
Yes, exactly. And McLaren has been having a good season. Like, considering the last few
years. They're really picking up. I want to get to that next. So,
okay.
Lando just coming off back-to-back podiums. They had a decent weekend. Piastri actually had a really good sprint yesterday, but he finishing second. Was out in the first lap today. And then the problem with the McLaren today was that they were set up more for wet weather conditions, and it was dry today, so they kind of gambled wrong on the race.
No.
But their car...
They didn't get a podium today, did they?
No, they didn't.
No.
Lando finished 7th.
I like him.
I like Lando, too.
Yeah, I like him.
And you know what? They are only... How many points back of Ferrari now for 4th place?
Red Bull's running away with it, though.
It's still... Oh, I mean, Red Bull's got constructors in the bag.
Yeah.
It's a big battle for second now. I mean, even So McLaren's 150 points back of Mercedes for second. Not totally out of the question if they start grabbing more podiums, though. So we'll see.
They have 10 races to go.
It's a long time.
That's a lot of races. But I think Mercedes is they've gotten to tighten up. Like from the first race to now.
They've grabbed a lot of podiums.
I expect Hamilton to be on the podium again. before the year's out.
Oh, he's probably it's gonna happen multiple times, but he's been kind of like the car's been hit or miss. Russell's been really hit or miss this year.
I like that guy too. And what's he been doing? Smoking before the races?
I don't know.
He's odd, isn't he?
He hasn't looked too comfortable.
Last year I thought he looked more comfortable than this year.
Yeah, he only has one podium this year. Hamilton's been able to grab 4, so it's showing you who's
the better year.
Yeah, exactly.
Driving the same car. I thought Russell would have more podiums by now. You know what I mean? I really did, because watching the preview and the talking and everyone says going on and looking from last season.
Well, it's also a British broadcast. He's a British driver, so no
well
bias there, obviously. I also want to give a shout out to Charles Leclerc. Was pulled today, finished on podium.
I like him too.
I like him too. It's just he races with Ferrari, unfortunately.
There you go. There you go. Anyways, I'm just saying that we have the opportunity to perhaps see something very historical by the anti-hero himself, Max Verstappen. But
yeah,
I'm going to go on today. That's a funny thing. Did he actually say that on the thing about
on the radio?
That's hilarious. That's just outrageously arrogant.
And there's going to be a lot less F1 talk for the next month on this show because they are on summer break.
No
one works in August in Europe, so
that's just the way it goes. Welcome to Europe. You know what it is?
Hockey or basketball next?
Okay, hold on. I just want to put in one point, and you ask, and this is going to totally catch you off guard. Is who do you think is more arrogant? That's the thing about it. Max Verstappen or Andrew Tate?
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because he's a criminal and he's like spewing.
He's not a criminal. He's not a criminal. He's gonna be guilty. They're railroading him. We don't want to go there.
What do you mean? He's admitted to all this shit.
But the girls nobody was underage. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything against her. And there's nothing.
Isn't he allegedly taking passports? We should get off this.
But. Yeah, we will. No, we'll get away. No, I'm just saying it this much because
I know a lot of this he's admitted to. I thought.
No.
Yes.
Well, we're not, because we're not an Andrew Tate show. I'm just saying this, that the guy, the two most arrogant people I've heard talking last week are
I don't even
Andrew
think
Tate.
you can even compare Max Verstappen to Andrew Tate.
In this respect, they don't give a shit what they're going to say what they got to say, and a lot of times they're right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But what happens when, my point being is that reason why to get to the Max Verstappen not being like thing is there's a way to say things. Your mother and father have told you that, and tone of voice and how you say it. People get brushed off when people are pure arrogant. That's what I'm saying. So, but I don't call it cocky if you're winning.
Sure.
So he's winning. So big shout out to Max. Don't change
can't even compare
Max.
the two.
I wouldn't. I say the arrogant.
Yeah, but Andrew Tate, gloating about manipulating women so they can be his whores. That's not the type of behavior that I'd like to endorse here on the House That Happens.
I know. I'm not going to endorse that at all. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm just going to say a year from now we'll bring up Andrew Tate, and when everything comes out, you're going to look at this guy, and he's had. So it's his arrogance that's killing him. But he's making a lot of good points, just like Max. I'm still dying with that pit stop thing. It's hilarious. That's why I thought of Andrew Tate, because that's sheer arrogance to be able to say that, and the whole world hearing it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Come on. That's Max being Max at maximum arrogance. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So we'll leave it at there.
Max. Hockey or basketball?
I think we should start with, we're going to get to basketball in the end because there's a few things they're saying, but I'm just going to say this. The one thing you've said before, and it's very true, we live in Toronto, the GTA. So we have to accept the fact that hockey season is how long?
365 days a year, my friend.
366 in a leap year.
There we go.
Okay. What is going to happen with, what have you heard on the street? Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm hearing on the street with the Nylander Asamasi situation.
Okay.
What have you heard? Are you giving me your take?
I'm staying away from the rumors because there's all sorts of
nonsense. He's a Leaf guy, so I'm going to take over in this because who gives a shit about the Leafs? I hope they screw it up. Dubas, I hope you bring a Stanley Cup to Pittsburgh. And this is your new general manager. He doesn't even know what he's doing. They're all scared. Word around the campfire is Austin Matthews isn't signing until Nylander signs. And Nylander's saying, well, what's Austin going to get? And if you give Austin Matthews $14 million a year, you're out of your mind. So how do you...
The number's not going to be 14.
13?
They're saying 13 and a half. I bet it's going to come
then
under.
Then it's going to be 14.
Listen, let me finish. Let me finish.
I bet you didn't want to say anything about the Leafs.
The number's going to come under 13 and a half.
I'll buy you a beer. Because it has to, because we don't know. What the question is, and I'm really thinking, I'm loving this conversation's coming up. The Bettman hate It's like a snowball. That thing is getting huge because people are actually...
Isn't it huge already?
I'm snowballing. You know how that snowball just gets bigger, going down the hill? What is people have actually realized, because I'm sure you've told your friends and people are on our group chats or something realize is that this is a flat cap year. People don't understand what this flat cap really meant till you see the mess that's in Toronto, and you guys are in a mess. So here's what I suggest. Don't sign Nylander, let him play, and let's see what happens by the trade deadline.
I'm fine with that.
Why not? Well, can't be scared, because the problem is this. He wants 40 goal scoring money.
Oh, he's only done that once, though.
Still a 40 goal scorer.
Yeah, but like if you want to pay a guy 40 goal money, I want proof that he's going to be able to do it again.
Let's go back to Steve Thomas back in the day and Harold Ballard.
Okay, we're talking about like $10,000 there.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. The bottom line is, when he goes into the room, and you know how much we think about lawyers and agents on the House That Happens.
Well, especially you.
Thank you very much, and I'll keep that in my back pocket at all times, is the fact that the agent's walking into the room going, I got a 40-goal scorer. So how do you get around that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I would love to be a fly on the wall when they have those little meetings. Like, what's your general manager's name again?
Treliving.
How do you say it?
Treliving.
Treliving. I'd like to be in the room with Treliving, Shanahan, what's his name, the coach, Keefe, and what's the other guy that from ML?
Purdom?
Yeah, Purdom. I want to be in the room when those guys are having a beer and shooting the shit.
Purdom, if you don't know, he is the
guy.
assistant GM, capologist.
What a stupid-ass name, capologist. What does he do?
He wrote the cap, or he wrote the CBA, so he knows all the loopholes.
Okay, and I got to give him credit for that. I really shouldn't pass that off as something trivial. Okay, the word of the day on House That Happens is trivial.
I got to put that down as the show title.
Yes, definitely. I want to know what they're saying, because you're hearing it too, and you're a Leaf fan. I don't give a shit. I think the Habs are in great shape, and I think because we keep tabs on the Habs, make sure we throw that in every week, because I'm saying that if the salary cap goes up $9 million, like 4.5 next year and 5.
Like they're saying.
That's what they're saying. That the teams that have done what Montreal, Carolina, and Columbus have done are going to be safer than the other teams, because what they're doing is they're playing with Boston. Why do you think Bergeron retired? I think he retired more because he is at the end of his string, but he wasn't going to get that money. Boston can't afford it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, with the Leaf cap space, though, I mean, something that's kind of getting swept under the rug here is they're going to get an additional 10.3 in cap space next year as well, with Muzzin and Matt Murray coming off the books.
I was just going to say, so they could be in a position now, but you got to sign now. So what do? If I'm the Leafs, I'm gambling. I'm not signing nobody. Let's get the season going. Let's see what happens. Because if all of a sudden
worst comes to worst, you get the cap space.
100%, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is this: like, what if you get to Christmas time and Nylander's only scored 4 goals?
Okay.
I'm not saying that's going to happen.
I thought you were going to say like 15 or like 12 or something.
No, what if he got 4? Then he's going to sign, isn't he? Right? Is he going to sign?
You would think.
Well, that's why I'm saying this is a role. A lot of teams around the league are doing it. Toronto is not the only team. Like we'll bring up the numbers before the season starts, like guys that haven't signed, and we'll call it the league gambling show. Not gambling from Proline or some bet, but the teams that are actually gambling on how they're going to sign their players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you think I've got a point here? I wouldn't sign.
No, you do.
You know what I mean? I heard a great thing.
The cap's not going up that much. You got to be careful.
Okay, so I heard this outrageous thing, okay? Do you know when Austin Matthews had that little bit of a slump, and then he sat out for a few games and he wasn't feeling well? You know what the word on the campfire is that happened there? Which, if this is true, Austin, you're a dumbass, you know, and I don't want to say anything about his relationship situation either.
No,
okay,
because
no, I'm not gonna say nothing, because that's got nothing to do with it. I want to know what he does on the ice.
Okay, what's this word on the campfire? You can't just bring that up and then not say it.
He had hair implants, got an infection, couldn't play hockey.
Really?
He has had hair implants. The guy going bald. We know that. You know, the guy coming in the league, that guy going to be bald. You know what I mean? I say it to East Indian guys now, and they hate it. You know, hey, buddy, nice hair. You'll be bald in 10. They go, stop it. My father's bald. I go, you're going to be bald in 10 years. Don't worry about it. And they hate it, because a guy like me saying that just pisses them off. Okay, you know what I mean? But he apparently had, and you know where I heard this from, right? I was down in the box. I was in the box at the Dome yesterday, private box for the game, And it just happened to know some people that work at Scotiabank. They work in Scotiabank, and you know what? Any business, any place, there's at your work, at my work, at the league.
Oh, word spreads.
Word spreads about what people do. So if Austin Matthews actually did this, can someone verify it? Anybody listen to the show? Let's see if that Austin Matthews really got hair plugs. What if he did that? Why wouldn't he do it in the offseason? Isn't that a dumb thing? If he did get an infection and he couldn't play because I heard his hands got swollen. Like it affected you some way.
I mean, it's better than Evgeny Malkin having to sit out a couple games in Florida because he got sunburned.
Oh, that's just more retarded. That's it. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word.
You shouldn't say that.
No, I'm sorry. I take that back. But come on, that was ridiculous. Can I add all that up?
Stupid.
Can I really insult the guy this way? How many drinks did you have while you were sitting in the sun? What country is he from? So I just want to say this before we get off the hockey talk because
a few more things about hockey.
Okay, but can I put this in there? I hope Nylander does sign there, and I mentioned this to one of the people that work at Scotiabank. You know, I always say that when Nylander comes in, he looks like a rock star. The way he dresses, the flying hair. I was told that my impression of that, they said, Cruz, amplify that 25 times. He has now a crew of groupies.
Really?
That have been showing up, autograph, treating him like a rock star. More than anybody on the team. Austin Matthews, Marner, all that. These guys work at Scotiabank. They see what's going on. He jumps out of the car, man.
Was it like young women or?
Yeah, he's got a, which is great. You know what I mean?
Nothing against that.
I just think it's great that this guy has got rock star appeal for the Toronto Maple Leafs over any other player.
Well, it's got to be the salad.
Oh, 100%. You know what I mean? Look, you ever see him dressed when he comes in?
Oh.
He's got that Mick Jagger, I don't know,
He's got that
front
swag,
man. Yeah, that front man swag. But he doesn't always show it on the ice. But I'm going to say this about Nylander, too. I think he's a tougher hockey player than people give him credit for.
Fair enough.
Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, he's like, I don't know. I think it's just because like he doesn't go in the corners. Like I think that kind of affects negatively on his. Do
you think he rags the puck too much?
Rags the puck?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
I heard that yesterday. Sometimes when he comes in, he doesn't give up the puck enough. I say 50-50.
I don't think so.
I think the flow of the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes the flow of the game, you just got to hold on to the puck. McDavid does it. Nobody says boo.
Yeah, I don't mind his.
I don't either. Like, you know, when he does that move, he comes in, he goes all the way around the net, and he comes in and he's looking for the guy out front.
No, that's fine.
Me too. I think, and I heard if you
just don't cough up the puck.
And he's not a big turnover guy. But it was really interesting because when you're in a booth at a Blue Jay game with 14 guys, I'm with a couple Leaf fans.
Sure.
Okay. Let me rephrase that. More than 3 Leaf fans. Okay. So when I was throwing out my things and listening to what actually Leaf fans were saying, there was a mixed bag on the street about the Nylander, Austin Matthews captain.
That's everything in Leaf land, like since I was a kid.
Oh no, I know they're out there, but I find it most interesting that nobody's saying a lot about Austin Matthews. They're leaning on what's Nylander going to do. And I'm saying that in some respects, don't sign the guy, trade him to Montreal at the trade deadline. We good.
Yeah, right.
We're good. We're good with that. What do you think's going to happen? Seriously, what do you think?
With Nylander?
Like, do you think there'll be a signing before the season starts?
No.
Austin?
Sounds like no.
Yeah, because this little play, what you're hearing, obviously, online. And
yeah,
the
they want to get Nylander done first. That was out there pretty early on,
and it's maintained.
It looks like it's not going to happen.
No, because he's a 40-goal scorer. But I'll shut up. And what's the next thing you want to bring up?
Now, but I was just a little closing thought there. I think the Matthews contract will get done sometime during the season.
Oh, if it doesn't, that's a disaster.
Yeah.
PR disaster, fan disaster, organization.
I think it's done. I think it's probably done in January, if I had to bet.
Christmas, January.
About a month before the trade deadline.
And you know why? Because what it is the guy's going to be a played now. So I'm saying one of the things that would be great for the Leafs not signing Nylander to start the year is gives him incentive to play a little bit harder. You know, so he won't have those 4 goals that I'm talking about. But what if he has 20 goals by Christmas time? You paying him $9 million.
Yeah.
You paying him $9 million. So, like, we'll have a gambling issue.
Well, we'll see.
Before the season starts, we will discuss that. And Nylander, I'll hang around for your leftovers, okay?
Okay. Signing news, Ilya Samsonov got his arbitration deal awarded, 3.55 mil.
I thought that was fair, right?
Yeah, about where I thought it was going to land.
Only 1 year, though, right?
1 year deal, and then he's unrestricted this summer.
Okay, so what's going to happen then? Are we going to definitely see not Murray again in a league uniform?
He is going on Shanahan Island, straight to LTIR this season to be buried. I've already crunched the numbers. The Leafs will be able to fit everyone under the cap. They might have to let Bobby McMahon clear waivers, but I don't think that's going to be a big deal.
No, I think he will. But so you're telling me that this is going to be a Kucherov thing that the Leafs are pulling?
No, because Murray's not going to play.
Neither did Kucherov. He never showed up to the playoffs.
I'm saying Murray's not even going to show up in the playoffs.
I say he's never plays in a Leaf uniform again.
Yeah, so I don't think you can call that Kucherov situation.
Well, that's true.
This is a typical Lou Island. What we're saying, like him and Muzzin, they're both in the same boat.
Oh, Muzzin ain't playing again either.
Exactly.
Can I big shout out to the Muzzin family and Jake and all, because that's sad what happened to him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's going to be degenerative back. So that means that affects his golf game. That affects picking up his grandchildren. Oh, so we're really hoping that Mr. Muzzin, that you get proper therapy, see you on the golf course, and do all those other great things that we're talking about. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that when the playoffs start next year, and Toronto's going to make the playoffs, don't you agree?
Of course.
Samsonov will not be your starting goalie in the playoffs. You heard it here right now, July 30th.
Whoa, you think it's going to be
2023. You heard it here first.
No, I'll bet a beer it's going to be Samsonov.
Okay, we're going to bet a beer. It's a house that happens July 30th, 2023, when they play the first game of the playoffs against the Montreal Canadiens, that they will, Hall will be the starting goalie. Did you hear who I said they were going to be playing? Did you take note?
Montreal.
Thank you. Just letting you know that now, okay? We keep tabs on the Habs.
So one last thing before we get off the Leafs. Nick Robertson, does he make the opening night roster for the Leafs?
I think he should.
I think he should too, but will he?
I think he should. What would be the deterrent? Big winger up and down? Come on.
He's not so big.
But he's a good skater.
He is.
You know what I mean?
I think if you had him on a third line with Domi and Yarncroke,
that would be a good line. Yeah, come to think of it. So I think he's going to make it. And he has to clear waivers.
No, he doesn't.
Is he still young enough?
Him, Nyes, and Pontius Holberg
really?
don't have to go through waivers. They're waivers exempt. So that's why they can fit everyone under the cap for day one. That's part of the reason.
Then I'm saying that he might not start the season on the roster due to what you're saying.
No, but when does the season start? October 2nd?
Or 6th.
Yeah, because but you got to be cap compliant for October 1st. So you could just send him down that day and then just call him up the next day.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is what they're going to do with probably Nyes as well. A little bit of the cap
manipulation.
Tomfoolery and manipulation nonsense.
Okay. That's going on. What went on this week that everybody's challenging the team? I had that in my notes where they called them out for some dubious. Oh, the Philadelphia thing, is it? They're still calling them out about how they're cutting players. And
the Flyers?
Was it the Flyers or Bernier? No, somebody else did it too. There's an investigation.
Oh, it's the Tony D'Angelo thing? Or no?
Oh, that could be it too, yes.
But he ended up signing in Carolina after he was bought out like everyone assumed he would. But the one I want to get to is Ottawa finally signed one of the last remaining big free agents out there, Tarasenko.
Yeah.
1 year, $5 million, I believe.
Do you notice that?
$5 million, yep.
Okay, so here at the House That Happens, we do try to give a little bit of an educational angle to the things that we brought up. Understand, people, that a flat cap year has done this. There's another 1 year, $5 million contract. How many around the league? There's
the Leafs have one. Bertuzzi 1 year, $5.5 million.
There's a lot of guys because training camp's coming in what, 6 weeks, whatever it is, 6 weeks.
A lot of still some big name players without contracts.
That's what I'm saying.
Like Matthew Dumba's the big one in my eyes.
He gonna sign though? You think?
I think he might go to camp on a tryout. The way it's going,
because of the flat cap year, right?
Yeah, like you look. So Kane, it sounds like he's not going to make up his mind till at least Thanksgiving. He's not going to make it to any team's training camp by the sound of it.
So you're going to drink beer and golf till then?
Basically.
Someone's going to pick him up by then, but he's
going to have the luxury of kind of going NBA style, seeing halfway through the season who's looking good.
I'm going to go there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going back to New York.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can see that too.
Thomas Tatar's still out there. Josh Bailey. I know he didn't have a great year with the Islanders. He's still out there.
I would take Josh Bailey. I think
he's going to land on his feet.
Oh, I think so too. He didn't play great, but I like him. I like his size.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Puljujarvi, another guy still out there.
Montreal. Look at the Bailey situation.
They might be.
That's a good landing spot. I'll take him. On our team, he'd look pretty damn good.
Anything else for hockey you want to mention?
Just the fact that not only do we have the flat cap situation, I just want to say that it's really, really fun when you're out in the city and you're at a ball game and how quickly Toronto Maple Leaf talk dominates in this city is unbelievable.
Always.
I know it's been like that forever. I've been living in the city 40 years, but now that we're doing this podcast and you do a little research and you talk to other people, it really, really blows me away that we have this much talk about hockey still this season. I want to do one little shout out, and I'm going to investigate this. This is another thing I want to find out. I want to make sure that everyone understands that Bronny James is of good health, and I heard he's going back to the practice. He's going back to practice for Southern California Trojans, the teams he's going to be playing for this fall.
That was a scary moment.
Very, very scary moment, and I just want to throw this in there because I'm going to be a devil's advocate. I'm going to research this sometimes before the football season starts, and I'm going to go around the world. Do you know that this is about someone said, seventh incident around the world, guys under 25 years old. There was a Australian rules football player in Australia. I've heard about doing this. A tennis player from Czechoslovakia or Romania and East Bloc country under 25. All the same thing that happened to Bronny James, and you know what the common denominator of all of them is?
Oh, no. I think I know where you're going with this.
What?
You say it.
The COVID booster.
The booster? So like
everyone got their 2 shots, but everybody...
The third shot.
The third shot. Okay, all of these guys have had the 3rd shot. Oh, and Jamie Foxx had the 3rd shot.
Oof.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that when it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
We might have to get a medical expert on here.
We're going to do some research because I hope that I am wrong. I hope my thinking is fallible. Is that the word? So in that I'm mistaken and I have to come back on and say no. But it's a weird coincidence that we're getting young men under 25 years old in great shape. Like Bronny's in great shape. The soccer or the Australian rules football guy, when I see it was Australian rules football or one of those games they didn't play in Australia. This guy looked like a wall. Yeah. Ran down the field, fell down. Boom. And this has never happened. Okay, you had the odd occurrence where then you find out a guy's had like that thing in his heart, like a
like there's been a couple hockey players in the past who have had like heart attacks on the bench.
And there's like
Rich Peverly and who's the one with the Red Wings? He was like the young defenseman.
that was scary. But we had the Hank Gathers thing in basketball, and we had what's the guy that played for Boston, who was a good player, that he died of a heart attack. But they found out later that they had
like heart conditions.
Yeah, fibrillating conditions with their heart, okay? So that happens, and that's like 2 guys in like 50 years. But to have young men dropping, like I think it's 7 incidences now in just over a year, it makes you start to think about when do we question the science and when do we question our health? Mm-hmm. And health is wealth.
And I am just very happy I did not get the booster at this time.
I am so happy you did too. Now, here's something that we have failed to do to end the show.
Well, we got to talk about Damian Lillard.
Okay, get the Lillard, then we'll get to this.
I mean, I don't have that much to say about this. I mean, I'm sure you have 12, but, we'll try and get through this quick.
Okay, here's the deal.
Basically, like, the league told Damian Lillard that he's got to quit it with saying that he's only going to play for the Heat.
Because it's a bad look for the league.
It's a very bad look for the league. Does this affect the on-court product? Probably not that much, if we're going to be honest. Okay, but the NBA has such bad press as it is with the injury situation, load management, guys jumping to teams, all that soap opera kind of bullshit that infects the game of basketball. That's why I think Adam Silver came out and said, hey, guys, we don't need this kind of press. Because you know what? It looks like
And I would never say this about Damian Lillard. It's like they're saying, well, he's trying to be above the game. How can you say that about Lillard, a guy who gave his all for Portland all these years?
Which is crazy because, like, you always kind of associated Lillard as, like, you know, kind of like a little bit more humble, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. But now all of a sudden, my mom's even saying, like, oh, this Lillard guy, he's pretty cocky, isn't he?
He's always been cocky.
I know, but, like.
Dame time?
Sure.
Okay, come on.
But, like, this level of arrogance, like, I don't know. There's never really been associated with him before.
He's a rapper. Okay, so let's just say that, Mrs. Milani, this show is going to be all about arrogance and trivialities. Is that the way we're going to say it?
Sure.
Okay, there's a few guys around the NBA that haven't signed either, but we'll get to that because we're getting late in the show and I don't want to drag on. Anything else you want to say about the NBA right now?
No, I just wanted to finish up by saying that, I mean, we all know this stuff happens, but, like, Adam Silver's got to be like, come on, guys, let's keep this behind closed doors. Don't be announcing this on your podcast. They're going to only play for Miami. Come on.
It's not a good look in the NBA. There's 1,000 other things that go on in the league that is a bad look that they're definitely going to shut it down. But I'm going to say this, and when this show is over, Andrew, I'm going to go stand in the corner. Okay, because I failed to do this. I had a very busy day yesterday, and it was one of those days where too many things was going on, and you couldn't do them all. Okay, so one of the things that I failed to do, and I did champion this on the show because I said not enough people are paying attention to it. Who won the fight last night? The Spence Crawford biggest fight in thing. Neither one of us watched the fight. No. Neither one of us know who won it.
Well, straight up, I'm not a combat sports guy.
Okay,
so.
I am, and I am embarrassed.
You're a boxing guy.
Yeah, I'm a boxing guy. The biggest fight in 5 years. I don't even know who won the fight yet because I slept in and I want to read. I know
recorded.
No, but I know a guy that says I can get a site. I'm going to go home on the computer. So I don't know who won the fight yet. So I'm going to see if I can go home and find it and watch it before then. But we at the house that it happened should be embarrassed to say we have nothing to do with this Crawford Spence Jr. fight.
Well, you can be embarrassed. I'll just sleep soundly.
I'm not sleeping soundly. I woke up right today and I said, you know why I didn't go to look for it is because a friend sent me an email last night because we were at the bar watching the band, and it was one of those bars that doesn't have TVs because they're so goddamn cheap. Hence the reason I don't want to promote the place I was at.
Fair enough.
Beer prices are ridiculous, squeezing us all, just horrible. So
can we just say how wonderful of a place Shoey's is then?
Oh, outstanding, outrageous, catalytic.
TVs everywhere, fair prices.
Fair prices, food decent. Serge only yells at you once a week. Serge, you listening?
And that's only when you diss the Argos. So.
Exactly. So, and we're going to give them on there.
No,
I'm just going to say that I'm very sorry that we did not find out about the fight, about who won the fight. But we will talk about it. I'm going to give it a look, and we'll discuss it from there. And considering the fact that I was relatively ill-prepared, slow week in sports, I want to thank Mr. Andrew Milani for bringing this all to the table today to give us the show that we have.
Oh, please.
No, seriously, you had it lined up pretty good. Look, I didn't even look. Where's my book?
You have a book?
Yeah, but it's not my book. You know, the book with all my...
Well, you have like 6. What are you talking about?
But I have the one now. I have the one. And you know what I'm doing? As soon as I'm going to go home, I'm going to text you with, I didn't bring up this. I didn't bring up that. Because during the week, what I do is I take little notes and I set it up so at the beginning of the show we can say things. Failing miserably, Cruz sits the bench. He will be sitting next to Kirk on the bench, who surprisingly hit 2 home runs yesterday on another feeble lineup. Before we go, what's the score of the Jays game? Can we have a score?
Let's check that quickly.
Please beat Baltimore 3 out of 4. They're a team I've traditionally hated my whole life. If you have
tied 1-1, bottom of the 7th.
It's my 7th inning. Let's go watch the rest of it here.
Tyler Anderson's still in the game.
Is
for the
he
Angels.
really?
Wow.
He's having. Maybe he's got. He was supposed to be like when he come up, he was supposed to be a good prospect, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got numbers from in college. Like I don't know if he went to Purdue or Vanderbilt, but he went to one of those colleges that are known, Arizona or somewhere. You know, some of the colleges that are known for baseball players is going to be there. But in any event, once again, Andrew, thanks for setting up a great show. I hope everybody was informed, and I hope we did a little infuriation along the way.
Agreed? A lot of infuriation.
So as usual, I just want to say,
get those clicks, baby.
Get those clicks in there. This is the house that happens. And hi, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
And don't ever forget, we always keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.